it was, so for me, the joy of the mythological villain is in that moment where I can chat with them and argue with them. And I think part of why I like fell in love with Athena and the Greek gods in general is because they're just as weird as ours are. Yeah. Like they get as many things wrong, they get angry, they throw tantrums. They
like that flawed god poem.
Exactly, yeah. So I think that sense of like they're flawed and therefore you can relate to them and inhabit them in a way that I would find very hard to do with like a Christian god who's there's not enough space to inhabit their flaws. So I think for me, I also in the workshops I teach very often get people to write persona poems, and it's really interesting how many of those, they don't have to be mythological, but how many of them actually occupy mythological characters. And I guess there's a way in which there's also like, it's a nice shortcut because people already have a certain background, so you can just jump into a telling.
Right.
And I wish there was more of that, and I actually wonder if the point is more that we've lost the richness of the varied narratives as a sort of more...
Yes, of course, that is...
More, so I don't know if it's even so much about like, I mean, I'm sure there's some things that need to be rewritten, but I think perhaps some also need to be rediscovered. Like there have been so many thousands of tellings of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata.
Yeah, and you remember the last time that was discussed, there was a big chaos over that, fracas over that, and they wanted to ban the book. Yeah, I mean, for me, actually that makes me think about another thing. Actually, first of all, before I ask you about form, do you want to read the Yashodhara poem? It's one of my favorites.
So this poem is simply called Yashodhara's Enlightenment, and there is a footnote that I'll just read out now, which is that the last line of the poem is I am my own refuge, which is reportedly the last thing that Yashodhara said to Gautam Buddha, to Shakyamuni Buddha, the night before she died. Yashodhara's Enlightenment. Do you remember me, still bleeding while you fled, our son still learning to cry? The gods, they say, silence your horse's hooves. 7 years of silence, yellow robes, stone floors. The sun gurgling, asking, falling, giggling, walking, upright and doubled over, prince without king, infant without father. I alone with his fears, you alone with your need for something that outlasts us. You ran with your pain, I stayed with mine. This is the meaning of parent. The world remembers your Bodhi tree. Mine was the harder enlightenment. Tight chest, open eyes. Siddharth, we could have been more than guilty desire. Love cannot be the opposite of faith. Give me your hand. This matters. You are kindness now and forgiven, but I am my own refuge.
Love that. Form, before I hand it over to questions, because I feel that there's so much more experimental with it in this one. Particularly the dialogue poems, which is completely new, I think. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Form has been, it's also partly Akhil's fault. I think a lot of our poetry is each other's fault. When we met, so incidentally the Paris poem that was part of this performance was written for Akhil. We met in 2014 in Paris for the Writers of India Festival there. And we had this long conversation on one long rambling walk about Anashahin Ali and about the way in which he talked about this idea of when his mother died. The grief of that was so big that he needed a container to put it into. And without that container, it was impossible to say anything new and interesting and not a cliche about it. And that was a really interesting way of thinking about form for me. I've always, like I said, I've always been a compulsive editor, so I will always like do a lot of like thinking through line breaks and reworking them. But to think about like forms that have existed for a long time, like there's a lot of ghazals in the book. And thinking about like what does it push you to do and what does it push you to discover that you might not have said in your own voice. And interestingly, since based on what we were just talking about, I feel like maybe there's an echo with the same way in which rediscovering these mythological voices and saying, what do you say in those voices that you don't say alone? Rediscovering things like the ghazal, which have existed for just as long, and saying, what do they kind of open up as a possibility? The dialogue poems were more, they were super fun to write, but they weren't, I mean, they're not clearly an established form in the same way. But I think something of that sense, and again, the moment we start talking about collectives and start talking whether it's about relationships between two people or between larger collectives, this idea of like everything, like sometimes we're having these parallel things we're saying and we think we're talking to each other, but we're each kind of having a separate conversation. And at some point, that form of the dialogue poem just opened up the possibility of. I used to have one of my very first writing teachers she used to also play the violin, and she used to say how her music teacher always told her that the music isn't actually in the notes, it's in the silences between them. And I think the dialogue poem as a form really lets you play with that silence, because sometimes you're choosing not to actually engage with what the person said, you're saying something else, and what are you saying with that diversion? So I think I felt like it was possible to pack a lot more different layers of whether it's, it's affection, but it's also annoyance, but it's also anger, but it's also distrust, but it's also it just kind of worked really smoothly in a dialogue kind of a form. So I think that was just playing with that specific thing.
Right. When I look at the entire volume together, to me it's like a timeline of healing. And almost as if, that old saying that what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. Did it come together like that towards the end, or did you sort of plan it, write it in that sort of with that chronology of healing?
So I think the chronology of the poems in the book changed several times. I think one of the things that was a conscious choice, back to the idea of collectives, is that initially in one of the earlier drafts, towards the end of the poem, end of the book, we were with poems of individual healing. Right. And I think at some point, so it's the last interlude that starts talking about, that's called, the interlude's called The Sisterhood of Chronic Care or something like that. Right. And realizing that actually that's the only space for healing and those kinds of kind of conversations. Yeah. So I think the answer is both. Like in general, I don't, so far with the two books, I have not set out to write a book of poems. It's more like I'm writing poems as and when, and then I at some point have 150 poems sitting in my computer. I'm like, oh, maybe we should start thinking about whether there's themes that turn into a book. At which point I print them all out and spread them out on the floor and then play with them for a while. So in that sense, I think the poems were definitely, like the writing of them was definitely part of the process of like all of those things we talked about, the refinding voice and figuring out what to say after and all of that. But I think the chronology of the structuring in the book is, it's also, like I said earlier, it used to be more linear than it is now, and I kind of wanted it to start feeling a little bit messier again. And also I think in terms of like the line I would trace would be actually more the line from the individual or the couple to the collective.
Thank you for that fabulous conversation, but questions now. Anybody with questions for Aditi?